because today we've got Dr. Spencer Berry with us. September is Childhood Obesity Month. Again, one of the most pervasive problems that we have going on in today's country. First time ever, the younger generation is predicted not to outlive their parents. That's how dire it is when you look at diabetes, type 2 diabetes and obesity in young kids. And it's costing us on average $50 million per 100,000 residents. Again, $50 million per 100,000 residents. You're talking about $300 million here across the state of North Dakota.
Childhood obesity is increasing markedly over the last couple of decades. It's tripled since the 70s. And this is having an impact on a variety of things, but as you mentioned, certainly healthcare, not only for the children themselves and adolescents, but obviously as they move into adulthood, but more importantly on their quality of everyday life. It truly affects everything from their physical capabilities and ability to get up and down stairs, to get out and play, as we'd like to see children and young folks do, but also there's a lot of psychological and emotional factors that go with that increase in weight in terms of treatment from peers and whatnot. And so this is a big problem. Studies have shown that now that children that are overweight and obese through childhood and adolescence, that the damage that's done then, a lot of that remains even if those children and adolescents ultimately return to a healthy body weight as an adult. So there's some things that happen early on that we're not able to get to. And that's why treating this from the beginning and getting at this from the beginning so that we prevent it.
What are some things parents can be doing to help eradicate the situation?
Well, obviously, from the standpoint of intake, probably the biggest offender is, of course, soft drinks. And again, we've all heard and listened to battles throughout the country about taking soft drink machines out of the schools, because and there's studies that again they show very clearly that when soft drinks are available in the schools and the children and adolescents can purchase them, they do. And when you look at the obesity rates among children who have access to and drink a lot of these, they're much higher than those who don't. And so when you really get strict, the four big things that are discussed is getting rid of all sugared liquids from the home. Now, obviously, this sounds pretty draconian, but in fact, they're saying water and milk, and that's not chocolate milk, because chocolate milk will have these others in there as well. But saying water and milk, especially early in childhood, very important to stay that way. Staying away from the sugared juices and the sugared sodas. Eating the carbohydrates that we intake should be taken in with fiber. So if you get them through your fruits and vegetables, you're going to be getting them with fiber. And that causes a noticeable difference in the way we digest them. And so, again, leading to issues of satiety and therefore not taking in as many. That's another issue in itself. Obviously, they'll recommend waiting 20 minutes before a second serving, because generally it'll take a period of time for the body to receive the satiety or the "I'm not hungry" signal. And so when that happens, so waiting 20 minutes in between a second serving is a very important factor. And then as it relates to the activity side of it, what they try to use is say, go minute for minute with your child as it relates to screen time and physical activity. And so whether that screen time is in front of a computer, a television set, whatever it might be, using that a half an hour for a half an hour. As far as in physical activity, can be any kind of play or activity outside or inside that doesn't involve the screen, just moving around and those types of things. It doesn't have to be a rigorous physical training program.
Talking about type 2 diabetes, it's becoming more and more of a pervasive problem here in North Dakota specifically. How do you get it? What happens? I heard recently that there's now every 7 seconds somebody is dying from diabetes. What's going on there, Doc?
Well, again, with diabetes, there's two types. As very important to distinguish. Type 1 diabetes, previously thought of as childhood diabetes, is a situation where the body cannot produce insulin. The pancreas, the organ that makes insulin, just doesn't produce it. It's not able to. That is very different disease than type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes accounts for about 95% of the diabetics worldwide, and that's the one that's growing in this country, and that is related to the epidemic of overweight and obesity, because as the body puts on weight and starts to store fat, then the cells become less sensitive to its own insulin. Now, the insulin is that hormone that the pancreas is putting out, helping the body to take in sugar and use it properly. Well, if the body won't listen to that, as there's more and more fat out there. The cells quit listening to the insulin. The pancreas has to make more of it. And therefore, in type 2 diabetics, many times it's not that they have too little insulin, they have too much insulin. And we're finding that insulin in and of itself as a hormone drives the cravings for carbohydrates and also decreases your body's ability to go after fat that is stored to bring it out for energy, which is what we're trying to do. And so therefore, super important that folks keep their near a healthy body weight. This dramatically decreases the likelihood of the development of type 2 diabetes, and also for someone who is diabetic with type 2 diabetes, this dramatically helps the ability to treat it and keep things under control. It's just, there's no question the relationship that we see, and now even in children and adolescents, we're diagnosing type 2 diabetes, which was previously unheard of, but because of this rate of weight gain and obesity in children, we're starting to diagnose it, and that's something that is really, it's frightening to me as a physician because of the problems that can cause down the road.
Doc, one of the things you said is a focus on milk and water for the kids. Give me the top 3 things a parent should be doing, because here's the reason I become so passionate about healthcare. Everyone talks about government policy and this and that, but this is something that all of us can control what we put in our mouths, how to eat more healthy, how to get out there and exercise. Top 3 things a parent should be doing to ensure that their son or daughter's not, if they are obese, get rid of it, or if they're becoming obese, how do you stop it?
Well, again, I just touched on them, and I'll repeat them, as I think these are the best ideas, and that is the sugared liquids. Again, one of the things that's being marketed directly to the children and to the adolescents are the sport drinks. And a lot of those are being consumed not by the elite athletes, for which many times...
You mean like a Gatorade, or what do you mean?
Yep, Gatorades. And of course, Gatorade comes in different varieties now. And these have the high fructose corn syrup. If you were to taste the initial Gatorade that came out in 1970, it was insipid. It was very difficult. And so when Pepsi purchased that in 1992, they had to figure out a way to increase its likability, and therefore high fructose corn syrup was added. So in this situation, the sugared sweetened drinks are a problem. So limiting them, at the very least, limiting them is very important, if not trying to eliminate getting over to water and some of the other things. And again, understandably, as a parent myself and a physician for years, I understand that totally reducing these and taking them all the way out of the diet is very difficult. But again, reducing them to the lowest possible is the best. And then using, again, the fruits and vegetables. If we consume our sugars, if we get them in the forms with fibers, which is what you get with fruit and vegetables, again, this will help in the absorptive process, and also affects our body's sensation of when hunger is then eradicated. Therefore, we don't consume as much. And then the activity I mentioned about making sure that your children are active, physically active. And again, play is just doesn't get the same importance that it used to, for obvious reasons, but in some cases, but not so obvious in others. And sometimes it's easier to let them sit in front of a screen and either watch and do something passively. But parents can get actively involved with kids, go out and play catch with them, ride bikes with them, go for walks, do things that help not only the child, but they'll help the parents as well.
You know what? One of my great mentors said, simple good, complex bad. That's about as simple as it gets. Drink water, milk, eat your fruits and vegetables, get out and exercise, and keep it simple. Doc.